good morning for you all. It's good afternoon here on the East Coast, but I'm looking forward to sharing with you the revisions to the dashboards that have been going on over the past 60 days. We started back in December with a series of focus groups that were attended by all of our state participants that gave us feedback on what worked with the dashboards, what didn't, things that they would want to see changed or new functionality. And that process led to a whole series of further conversations and updates leading to the dashboards that I'm going to share with you today. For context, the data that you are looking at includes the 18-19 school year data, so it is the most recent year of data. The dashboard is up on a separate link for folks in California to kick the tires on to make sure that there aren't any remaining gremlins or issues that we need to address before having it go live and linking it back to the Create site itself. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to take you through some of the dashboards that are familiar to you but have some functionality changes to them, and then also share with you 3 new dashboards that we're very excited about, and the folks that were involved in our development process were very excited about as well. The first thing you'll notice is new branding. So the Arts Education Data Project, we developed new branding to come out with the new dashboards to unify all of the iconography and everything that was working across the dashboards and bring that into the brand into one cohesive fashion. One of the pages that we've added is a new instructional page. And this helps answer a lot of the questions that people have regarding what do the symbols mean. And I'll show you the different icons and how they function when we go through that. Instructional tips for how to navigate the maps, how to select data points, how to filter, a little bit about the data cleaning and preparation, but then also some definitions. So if someone wants to know, well, what is the definition for free and reduced lunch? They have definitions that are here that they have easy access to, all as part of this, information and instruction page. And it also then provides a link back to the main ArtsEd Data Project website as well. So the first page is the welcome page. And this will be familiar to you, but there are some changes. The first thing that you'll notice on all of the pages is that we have added filtering, that the filtering is hidden. Before, the filter would kind of sit on this side of the dashboard like you see here, but this way we're actually able to hide the filters, provide more real estate for the data, and reduce the amount of copies. So one of the things we were working hard on was reducing the amount of distraction from the data to allow the data to tell the story itself. But these filters all work as they did before: the county, district, school type, traditional charter, and then locale for the regions. The KPIs, or what we call key performance indicators, across the top remain the same as before. The school and student arts access remains the same as what you're used to. Free and reduced lunch percentage is the same. Arts enrollment by grade is the same. And then we have the discipline enrollment, which you'll recall if you hover over will provide you with the individual discipline breakdown by the grade span. The big change on this page is down here in the course enrollment. Before, it was like a single line and all of the dots were lined up on top of one another vertically, and it was very hard, particularly if they were clustered, to distinguish between individual courses. Here we've changed it so that they're spread out in the area so that you can actually see and hover over the individual courses to see the information underneath. Each of them still have the ability to identify the high flyers, but also can see even the lowest of the low within this configuration. And the same with the toggle. We have the toggle so you can be looking at schools, or you change the toggle and now the information that you're looking at is students. So fairly similar to what you had before. The big difference is how we treated the presentation of the arts courses. The state overview is very similar to what we had before. The only change that we really made to this particular page, besides some of the look and branding, was the scatter plot. Down here, you could select the two disciplines, but you had to have the shared value. So if you were comparing music and visual art, you could only look at music compared to visual art at the same value, whether it was 30%, 40%, 50%. We disconnected those so that you could look at disparate courses. So if you wanted to look at schools where music was 50%, but dance was, say, 5%. And that would then allow you to identify those courses where there's a higher level of dance enrollment, as well as higher level of music. Beforehand, you weren't able to do that. It would have just been stuck at 50%. And if we look at dance programs at 50%, obviously, there's one value that pops out there. So that's the only change on this particular page. On the arts discipline page, a couple things that are different. Again, you still have the filters up here, but the discipline filter is handled by clicking on the icon. So if you click on an icon, that will then show you the particular discipline information that you're looking at. In addition to that, we changed the what was a pie chart for gender, we changed to a graphic, so that the graphic will get bigger or smaller depending on the configuration. So you can see the difference here in dance, in gender participation versus something like visual art. And then this chart here shows you participation in the discipline across the free and reduced lunch category. So it's showing you the share of students that are participating in that discipline across across the free and reduced lunch category. So those are the changes here, largely just in the navigation primarily. Arts participation, we've done a couple of things. Here, again, we've got the ability to hide the filters. We've added a new ratio. We have the student arts teacher ratio and student to arts teachers to all student ratio. So this way you could see what's the number of students to any arts teacher, what's the number of arts students to any arts teacher. So you can see the difference between those two categories. Before, we just had the all students to arts teacher ratio. So that was added. Down below, we present the information here a little bit different for the discipline enrollment by grade. We added the icons in there. A lot of that has to do with, again, being sensitive to color blindness, Americans with disabilities issues. So we've tried to add in certain areas the ability to show, to provide the data, but also to provide clues within the data that will help those that may have some accessibility issues. So that's the only change. The big change here is just down in this area and the addition of that one particular metric. Year over year, the thing that folks asked for here was, this is primarily the same as what you've seen before. The big difference is you are now able to filter this chart. Beforehand, this is all being presented based on alphabetical order by individual school district. Here you can now filter by district name, or you can say, I want to filter based on descending order of music participation. So now you're able to see the list in descending order, and that as you're working with it, the list can still be filtered, by county, so that you're just looking at the schools within that particular county. When you pick on a particular district, the schools themselves appear, and then the same type of filtering is available for the schools. Right now it's by school name, but I can go, I want to see music and I want to see descending order. So it shows me the schools that have the greatest percentage of students enrolled in music down to the lowest percentage enrolled in music, or change, I'm sorry, the change in year-over-year change in music. So this is your year-over-year change. So 19% increase here, and this particular school obviously eliminated or didn't report data for their music program in that particular area. So again, big change, just the ability to filter the information in each of these dashboards. Trends over time was something that we introduced in September with the new dashboards. So this is largely the same, again, hiding the filters. But the information here is now giving you a 6-year view of what's changed with arts education. So here you're able to see, while enrollment was relatively flat, down 1.3% for overall student enrollment, the arts student enrollment actually increased by 4.5% over that 6-year period. The percentage arts enrollment increased 5.8%. What that means is the change from what was, I think, 38% to 48% is an increase of 5.8% in the overall percentage of students that are enrolled. The access to the number of required arts, that has declined slightly, so that is an area of concern. And then the students without arts has the big decline, down almost 40% from when we started reporting, and then an increase in the number of arts teachers, which is good. The one area of interest here is that there was an increase in the number of schools without arts programs. And this is a combination of new schools that were entered into the data this year and a handful of schools that reported arts data in the prior year that didn't report in the current year. So there was about 60 schools that ended up impacting it, in that particular number. And that's brings up a topic that we'll be having a conversation with both the Create Data team and the Department of Education, just about some of the categories of schools that are actually being reported, and whether or not there remains a need for those schools to report in the future. But that's going to be something that we need to take a deep and careful dive into. Free and reduced lunch, arts enrollment based on free and reduced lunch. So here you can see the categories and how there are improvements in certain areas. You can see while it's maintained itself in the low area, that we've moved from 33% in 2014 to 37% in 2019. So while high free and reduced lunch is still a laggard, it is moving in the right direction. It is improving, and I know that's an area that you all have been focusing some of your energy on. Based on the majority race ethnicity, again, you can see the majority Hispanic schools, which are the majority of schools in the state, you can see that there is a trend of that participation rates are beginning to increase there. While no majority remains flat, white, we're seeing a slight increase there. You see these large jumps related to schools that are majority Black or African American, but we're talking about a limited number of schools. So any change in 1 or 2 schools is going to send that number wildly changing. So that's what you're seeing here when we're dealing with just a small number of schools. And the same thing is true here in this other category. I mean, the other category is made up of unique majority ethnicities, but we're only looking at a total of 9 schools. So that's why we've put the information here so that you can see, well, what is the number of schools that we're talking about and what is the number of students that are represented in those schools. It helps, again, provide proper context to everything. Then the last area is our individual arts courses. So you can see over the 6-year period, how has enrollment changed? What are the top flyers, top performers in enrollment change? What are the largest laggards as it relates to enrollment change? And that information here is available for each of the disciplines, and you can see the trend. Note that this is not at scale. So the other arts courses compared to dance is done in a way so that you can see the trend itself, not necessarily to compare the scale. And we try to make that clear. All of the stuff you're able to filter down to county. So you come in here and go to Fresno County, and we're now looking at the trends over time just for Fresno County. So I think this becomes a powerful tool for leaders in individual communities and some of the SESSA members to be able to get that really quick, broad county overview for what's happening in arts education. The last one that you're somewhat familiar with was the disciplines offered. We had a different name on it before, but largely the same functionality. Again, we put the filters, behind the filter icon and provided information so that when you have a view that we're telling you the view that you're looking at. So that if I were to change this view and look at Fresno County, it would say data is filtered for Fresno County. Or if I went to Clovis Unified, it would say data filtered for Fresno County, Clovis Unified for the particular year. Always providing you with a lens of what is it that I am looking at. So beyond being able to shift between the individual disciplines or, the number of disciplines, or, to look at schools that aren't offering any arts disciplines, which is what this view is showing. Once you create a particular view, you can hit the page button that was over here, and it will print out for you, or it will provide for you a listing of all of the schools based on the criteria that you had set. So the criteria here that I had set is a list of all schools that don't have arts instruction. If I use my county filter, I would be able to take that down to a particular county. And in taking it down to an individual county, it now gives me just the schools in that particular county that meet the criteria. The other thing that we can do is we can change it so that we want to see schools that are offering one arts discipline. And we're going to clear this filter here. So schools that are offering at least one arts discipline, but they must be offering dance. So now I'm getting all the schools in the state that are offering one arts discipline, or at least one arts discipline, and that one arts discipline happens to be dance. I can then hit this out. It will now give me show me all of the schools that are offering dance. If I go into this filter, I can go to Alameda County again. And now these are all the schools in Alameda County that reported offering dance instruction. So again, a way to really slice and dice the data to make it more flexible depending on how a particular user may want to engage with that information. And now the fun part. So the fun part is our new toys. And I promise that I'll do this quickly so we can leave some time for a Q&A. The first thing that we've added is a school profile page. This is my favorite, because while we have dashboards that are available, like you can get individual information when we look at the district and school dashboards, the arts participation dashboard, I can filter you down to a particular school. So I can go to Fresno, and then I can go to Clovis, and then I can go to Clovis East. And now I'm looking at the Clovis East school. But it's in a design that was really designed to allow for the data to be aggregated and disaggregated up and down, so that it's serving a lot of purposes. The school profile has one purpose, and that is to give you the information for a specific school, period, the end, nothing more. So it's not like you're going to be using this to compare one school to another or anything of that nature. This is what's happening in this particular school and what has been happening in this particular school over time. So what you'll see is at the top, we give you the individual discipline participation. We show you the number of teachers assigned to the discipline in that particular school. Again, you'll see grade here, the M, the A, the T, the D, again, to give an indicator to somebody that they're looking at music, art, theater, dance, or other. Then we're giving you the individual participation enrollment by grade. So this gives you the individual participation by grade that you're looking at. And then below is giving you more of the trends over time. So if this is what's happening right now at the top, down below is what's been happening over the past several years. So here you can see the music trajectory of participation over the 6-year period, visual art, theater, and dance. Over on the sidebar here, it shows you the actual arts participation and how that has increased, along with the number of student participation and how that has increased over that period of time as well. And then down below, we're giving you the actual student count or course count. So it's showing you the number of courses within a discipline. So in 2014, they had 2 arts courses. In 2015, they had 3 arts courses. So it's giving you a way to compare and count the number of course offerings within a particular year. But if you want to see what the specific courses were, if we hit on the icon, this now is showing us the specific course offering by year. And when you hover, it will tell you the number of students that were enrolled that year in that particular course offering. So again, giving you a multi-year view of what was provided to the students by course. And then this gives you the multi-year view, just how everything has been aligning over the 6-year period. So for somebody that says, hey, I want something for my school, you can come to this page, print it out, take it, and you're in business. You're able to share the information very easily. And so we think that this will be something that should be of great value to all of the users. The next one we have is what we're calling a course finder. So we've had people say, I want to look for schools that are offering a specific course within a discipline. And so what we've done here is, again, we have the filters, so you can filter by county or district name, but you can also filter the information by discipline and by school year. And we provide you with a list of all of the arts courses. And you can go in here and choose from your filter that I want to see all the schools that are offering advanced media arts, advanced stage technology, and advertising design. And you apply that filter, and now what you have is a list of all of the schools that are offering those programs. And it will show you the course count so that Castro has 2 of those courses. If we click on Castro Valley, it will show us the location of the school and the 2 of the 3 courses that they are offering. And again, you can use the filter up here to filter down to a particular county. Or one of the things that you can do is you just want to explore the information by discipline. So let's say I just want to explore, let's go back, we'll go to Fresno County. we're going to explore Fresno County, and within Fresno County, I just want to explore the music course offerings. And so within the music course offerings, I can come over here. Everything's been filtered down, and I just want to see who has AP Music Theory, IB Music, and Music Theory. And once I apply that, that then gives me the schools that are just offering those courses. And then I can see that in Central Unified, they're offering both AP Music Theory and traditional music theory. Again, more flexibility to allow people to come in and look at the data in very different and unique ways. And we also have found that if you are part of a cultural organization and you're interested in identifying schools that are that provide dance, or maybe you're interested in finding schools that don't provide dance or don't provide theater, this is the type of tool that you could use. And if you're interested in just a specific discipline area, you're just interested in music, this is an area where you can do a deep dive on music course offerings and get a good sense of what's being offered in one particular community. The last item, this came up, this was a brainstorm from our phone conference in December, and folks said that they wanted to have something like an Amazon shopping cart, where they could actually compare distinct districts to one another or distinct schools to one another. And so what we've done is we've created our Amazon shopping cart model to allow you to compare individual schools or districts. But one of the things that we also did is within the filtering, that you can use the filtering to select county or locale or grade level, but you can also look at free and reduced lunch or majority race ethnicity or the number of disciplines that are offered. So you can mix and match this in any way to create a universe of schools that you want to look at and then select and compare from. But for this purpose, what we're going to do here is we'll just look at, I'm going to look at Albany City Unified. And you see when I select Albany City Unified, it automatically is showing me all of the schools. And it shows me the number of teachers, the arts enrollment, schools without arts, students without access, their free and reduced lunch enrollment. It shows me the percentage of students enrolled based on the school configuration. So you can see there's 2 high schools and 1 middle school here that we're looking at. And then it will show me the individual arts participation rate by discipline. And I can highlight the discipline and it will give me a clearer view if I just want to look at music in that area. So that's a way to look at schools, but we can also just look at districts. So now I'm just looking at Albany Unified District in its entirety, aggregated all together. And I can come through here and say, I want to compare them to Castro Valley, and I want to compare that to Berkeley Unified. So now I am comparing 3 different districts and can see how they compare with one another, both on school count, number of teachers, percentage arts discipline, and then also comparing, well, how are they doing in dance? And I can highlight dance to see how the different districts compare to one another in dance or how they compare to one another in music. So this is our Amazon shopping cart model, and you can utilize it to find districts in any part of the state to compare. I can add Reading Elementary. Oops, I just added everybody there. Didn't mean to do that. Add Reading Elementary to the list, and I can just go through here to Del Norte and Europa. And so now I've got disparate located districts that I'm able to compare the information to. And again, the other way to get at the information would be, instead of starting with everybody, to say, hey, I just want to look at all districts that are in our that are town remote, that have enrollment size is very small, that is a free and reduced lunch category of high, and I want to compare those particular schools. So in doing this now, I've created the universe throughout the entire state of schools that meet that criteria. And so I can now begin to compare what do schools look like in Eureka City, up in Humboldt County, and how does that compare to Ukiah, and then how does that compare to Riverside? And so we're now looking at 3 different school districts that were very similar in their attributes. You know, very rural, very small, high free and reduced lunch. And then here I can then toggle between districts and schools so that now I'm looking at all of the individual schools within those districts. So that's our Amazon shopping cart model that was developed. And we think that this, again, has a lot of utility for folks that are interested in looking at seeing the information in this particular view. So with that, I'm going to stop.